want that. Special delivery. I need that. Special delivery.
Welcome to the Special Delivery Podcast. I am your host, Special, and welcome to this very special series for Grand Nationxl's album Twice on Sunday, where each episode is a standalone episode breaking down a track from the album, so you can listen to them all together in order. You can listen to them out of order. You can listen to one or a couple, whatever you want to do. This episode is about track number 6, Warp to Utopia. The song is produced by Soundtrack and features Bledsoe, Kevin Allen, and Champ Green, who I got to speak with, but the intro and the hook is done by Kate Lamont, who is absolutely incredible, but unfortunately she wasn't able to sit down and talk about this episode, but I just wanted to make sure that we shouted her out and gave her all the praise because she is incredible. Now let's get into it.
This is D Bledsoe with Special Delivery, and this is Grand Nationxl.
Get emotional thinking about how many years it's been since my partner's passed. I'm grateful for the chance, community chess play on damier checkers. I learned more from the struggle than I did from the pleasures. Amazon is out of stock on God's rule of the measure. Woke up charged today, I'm feeling like a Tesla. Elon Musk, they need our stuff. If we don't do it in the present, who's the maker of the future? Groundhog Day, they sweat me like a hooper, but I am merely immortal, fighting like a trooper. Used to live like I'm immortal, cuffed on the cruiser, then I found the portal. Warp to Utopia, my cup runneth over like a cornucopia. Able to use my cornea, I sense that I'm blessed. On some intrinsic, independent, with no senses. Existential, it ain't never been what it isn't.
Another song that you named with your verse.
Warp to Utopia, the song title actually happened the day before we were finished mastering the song. We were kind of going back and just naming things that we hadn't. We had names for songs that were like what we were drinking that night in the studio or what brand gummy bears we had in the studio. So a few of us took a ride just to listen to the mixes before we actually finished mastering the project, and like I said, to name some of the songs. And so we were riding around and it just ended up making sense to call it Warp to Utopia at the end. Again, that was just one of those references that I wanted to resonate with people in the know, how you warp in Super Mario Brothers or something. But again, just those what if thoughts that I was talking about earlier, like what if my brain could just take me somewhere other than where I'm at? Like sometimes you just get stuck in a place that's just so not cool. And so you just want to find that better place. So what if your mind could take you there? And that's more or less what that specific line was about. That was another one of those songs where the beat really just dictated the seriousness of those bars. That was one of my more refined verses.
No, that whole verse is one of my favorite verses on the project just because you're able to dig into so many things. I think you said Amazon is out of stock on God's ruler to measure.
Yeah, I did say that.
What? Like, I don't even have words. Like, that shit is crazy.
Yeah. I mean, again, just thinking about like how we just habitually adopt mind states and don't even fucking think about it. We put all these stipulations on God and the universes, man, we don't know. And so, you know, we have the word to go off of, but as far as your relationship, that's what you and God. So other people telling you how you don't measure up and how insignificant you may be or how even the world is making you feel like that shit ain't real. Like is not. And we have all these conveniences that make us think like everything is really at our fingertips. So if we can't get it, then there's something wrong with us. No, that's just the imaginary world. Like Amazon has 1 million different sellers that pack their widgets every day and go get their money. Like it's not just a magical Amazon cloud. Like there are real people behind it. So again, one of those lines where I just wanted somebody to hear what the premise was to it. Like basically, don't fucking judge nobody. You don't know. We don't know.
Goodness.
Yes, Kevin Allen. 1/15 of the collective Grand Nationxl.
Yeah, public housing, government assistance, old clothes, you can't fit it, food stamp tickets. I looked in the mirror, felt less than. Ghetto got me crazy, I might need a CAT scan. Look at me, I'm beautiful, a broken ass black man. This one for my grandmother, nigga, I don't tap dance. Ninja Turtle, Batman, hammer cartoon. Got the hammer took risk, can't panic too soon. Never know what the future holds. I lost my partner 22 years old. Only time I process is in the studio. Speak from the heart, man, they always say you speak from the heart. So bright I just might gleam in the dark. Hooked on the pain, felt it deep from the start. Always on my mind, can't nothing keep us apart. Yeah. Present in the moment, not a minute more. Just happy that I made another 24.
I believe you said, look at me, I'm a beautiful ass black man. This one's for my grandmother, blank, I don't tap dance.
Mm-hmm. Bar.
Yeah, straight up bar. But there's so much in that, from the tap dancing element to bringing in your grandmother and paying homage to her, but also speaking your truth. Like, I think that's a lot of people's favorite lines is I'm a beautiful ass black man, because there's so much in that. There's layers in that. What was it like writing that one?
My dad used to always say, you fit a lot in a little bit of a bar. So now it's a challenge when I write to do that. You know what I mean? I think it's just a craft of any writer that is in our crew. We try to get the most, because it's too many rappers to be wasting bars. Like, you know what I'm saying? So that was one of those bars that times like this where you get to unpack it. It's like, yeah, we go through a lot, you know what I mean? As black men, not more, kind of what we were saying earlier, not a woe is me, but just the history of it, we go through a lot of shit. So knowing what my grandparents went through, and my father being much older at the time, you know, having me, his parents come from, you know what I mean, his grandparents were slaves. Like, so it's very close in my generation. It's not 3 or 4 generations, it's like 2 or 3. So I can't imagine walking around with that fear that someone's going to kill me and I need validation from outside I'm just not at that point in my life anymore where the things I do and say are dictated by someone from the outside that hasn't been through our struggle as a black man. I just can't do that. So watching people on TV, comedy shows, watching all that shit, it sounds like some woke militant shit, but it's more like I just don't have time. Like, I'm on a different path. I'm on a different mission. We're trying to build an ecosystem. We're trying to build relationships, friendships. We're trying to make dope music. I don't have time to like keep destroying myself and my partners and my people and my women and my children like that. We past that. So I'm not tap dancing. I'm not, you know what I'm saying, shucking and jiving for not nobody. Like, you know what I mean? Them days are dead. So yeah.
And I think even too, like, I could misspeak on this, but just seeing your career and the different paths it's taken, I almost feel like, I don't want to say that you did tap dance, but you kind of leaned more towards
bar.
But you know what I mean? There were certain paths that your career took where I can imagine people were telling you to do certain things and say certain things and hold yourself a certain way. And I can only imagine that didn't serve you and it didn't sit well with you. And now you're at a place where you're like, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going anywhere near that. Like, I'm so sure of who I am and what I actually want to do that I don't even go anywhere near that. So that's what I got from it too, just seeing your career.
Yes and no. And I won't make it a super long story, but yes and no. It really had very little to do with music and my personality and my persona in music. Like, my older persona, whatever it was just based on ignorance, just not knowing how to capitalize off myself. Early in my like career radio play, I was being tested to tap dance and I completely said, no, go fuck yourself. I'm not, no, like, who you talking to type attitude, which people don't like that. So if you don't want to bend over, you know what I mean? So I walked away years ago. That bar was more about me just growing up as a man, like in society and like parenting and like being a citizen amongst other people. Like, don't talk to me any kind of way because I'm in Starbucks. I'll punch you in your mouth. Like, I'm not playing with you. That type of energy. So yeah, the music shit, like, nah, I never was gonna go too far with that.
Thank goodness. Cause,
yeah.
Man,
you were just kids having fun, man. Next thing you know, they're trying to rape you.
There's truth.
The internet saved it. Now it's just the Wild Wild West. Do what you want. Drop when you want. Look at us. We drop when we want. We do what we want. It's real freedom.
Exactly.
Nobody's trying to bend nobody over in this crew.
Nope.
Come to death row.
You're now rocking with Champ Green from Grand Nationxl. Twice on Sunday, out now. And this is the special delivery. Yeah, special delivery.
Cry baby, crying no tears. Looking to the light, jet setting like Lears. Cheers. When my glass have a toast. Crock pot living, marijuana pot roast. The sun shining, but it's cold as fuck. Grateful for the life, cash app adding up. All shucks, what's the hesitation? Move with urgency, but still be patient. Sticks and stones may break my bones, but I'ma still hit home runs and get back home. This is life, dice shake it, reach wide, twice bake it. Make your presence known, volcano, earthquake it. Transform your trauma, break curses from your mama. Self-care, self-worth, uplift your partner. It's teamwork, like a relay race. This is second to none, and we all first place. Great.
Your verse is just full of mantras. Like, it's just beautiful things that people can definitely live by. I'm going to try it again. Move with urgency, but still be patient. Make your presence known. Volcano, earthquake it. Transform your trauma. Break curses from your mama. Uplift your partner. Real things to live by. How do you approach that one?
Say, for instance, we know the story of African Americans, being enslaved of 400 years. And just think, sometimes we don't necessarily deal with our trauma, right? It gets passed down from generation to generation. And that's just everybody, right? So you don't really know if, just say if your great grandpa was an alcoholic, right? He just, had an appetite for destruction because he liked to scrape the plate. He loved girls. No.
The amount of Jay-Z references we've had today is incredible.
That just lets you know.
Yes.
So pretty much you have all that trauma that you're not even aware of.
Yep.
Until you go back and realize, this is what I was passed down, but it's how you run a race after you get the baton. So I'm transforming my trauma, breaking curse from my mama, like self-care, self-worth, uplift my partner. It's what she was being passed down, but maybe she didn't recognize it, right? So being the fact it's a village, right? So we have to help each other and be helpers to one another. So that was the whole thing of going back to the village and having restoration. So if, my mom wasn't aware of some things, I can go and help her out because she was able to give me a piggyback ride onto greatness and help me learn. So in return, I give that game right back. And the whole thing is to continue to recycle the game, because what will make you great is the things that, you was able to digest and make biodegradable, so that's where that came in at. Just each one teach one to reach one. Yeah. So that's where that came from, though. Just, like, even in the midst of your trials and tribulations, still be able to lend an ear or help where you can help at. You see what I'm saying? Because a lot of times we focus on the problem instead of the solution.
There's just so much power in that. And even just naming it, saying transform your trauma, break curses from your mama. Like, for sure. I think just saying that out loud kind of sparks within people like, oh, this is something that maybe I should take into my life. So I think that there's so much power in that.
Thank you.
No problem. Thank you so much for checking out this episode. If you enjoyed it, make sure to hit that follow or subscribe button on whatever you're listening on. And if you want to reach out to me, I'm on Twitter at SpecialSays, and on Instagram, it's at SpecialSays as well. As always, this episode is dedicated to Marlon. Do what you can to stop senseless acts of gun violence.